And we're back. Welcome back to the Culture and Cannabis podcast. Happy Thursday. Listen, me and Chuck were talking before. I don't remember if I was on the podcast last week. Oh, sorry, Chuck.
I'm just getting smoked out right now.
So, obviously, this is not JC next to me. This is Chuck. This is our other partner. He's our creative director. He came on the podcast. JC and our other partner, Leilani, are currently up in Seattle. And they are on their 6-year anniversary. So, they're up there. So, congratulations to them. We love them very much. But I got Chuck here with me, and we're gonna hold it down today. Chuck, any kind of words you want to say to the people?
Nope.
Okay. All right. Then we'll just dive right in.
I don't have your energy right now. I'm loving it though.
All right. So we have a great guest today. We have the Budtender of the Year. We have Rocky in the building. What's up, Rocky? How are we doing?
Hey, what's going on?
Thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm very honored to be here. So
thank you. So first off, Budtender of the Year.
Right.
How does that happen? How does one become Budtender of the Year?
Actually, it was such a fluke incident, really. I had no idea there was a Budtender Awards to even begin with until I was nominated. And then when I was nominated, I was like, wow, this is awesome. And so after I was nominated, I was like, is this even real? Because it seems like it's supposed to be a really big thing, and then they're going to announce the nominees on the High Times live podcast, I do believe. So I was like, oh, it must be legit. So as it built up, I started seeing like advertisements at my store and stuff for it, and I was like, okay, so it's actually going on, so I should probably do something about this. So I ended up just plugging it out a little bit more and then kind of getting active in it, and it just became a thing. I got nominated, and then you just kind of did all the social media stuff and got your face out there and got so much in the industry that you couldn't even take it anymore. Every day was just absorbing the industry, and then the awards came around, and just so happened to win. There was 5 awards in total. There was a Budtender of the Year, and then there was 5 other nominated categories. I was the medallion winner, which was more for like social help. Basically, you're just kind of like one of those people that are about the cannabis industry, for the cannabis industry, actually doing something in the actively doing things in the cannabis industry.
And that's fantastic. Congratulations on that.
Congrats.
Yeah, congratulations on
Thank
that.
you.
That's definitely a big accomplishment. It's awesome. It feels good to be recognized, right?
Yeah, totally.
Me and the whole Culture and Cannabis crew, JC specifically, won some awards at the Las Vegas Cannabis Awards, and people, it is what it is. Awards are awards, but it feels good to feel recognized for the hard work you put in. So, congrats.
Yeah, I saw that. That was amazing.
Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely. Definitely deserve it, man.
Yeah.
Cannabis, culture and cannabis. Cannabis is food. It's amazing. It's blowing up.
Yeah, it's been good. Yeah, I'll help because of this guy Chuck next to me. He's been.
Chuck.
Thank you.
So, where do you work? Where are you at right now?
I'm at Planet 13.
You play for the Yankees.
Yeah.
Some people call it the Death Star. I call it the Yankees. But how has it been working there? I mean, that's the world's largest cannabis superstore. I mean, they are the pinnacle of dispensaries. How is it over there?
Oh, it's an amazing company to work for. Let me just put it out there first of all. They're very caring people. They're active. They always make sure that everybody's okay, that we have the right things going on every time. And so I think it's a great company to work for sure. You're a handsome man. Thank you, sir.
We got Rick in here. He's just fixing some mics.
Thanks, Rick. Yeah.
That's great though. I mean, Planet 13. We work with you guys over there. We have some products in the store. Everyone's been fantastic. Our pseudo third host Derek Guman is the director of wholesale over there. So
yeah, Derek's great.
Yeah, Derek's awesome. Yeah. Shout out to David. Shout out to Brandon.
For sure.
Shout out to both Brandons.
Both Brandons.
Oh yeah,
over there. So working at the world's largest cannabis superstore, one would think that you might not be able to get the amount of time with a consumer as maybe a smaller dispensary would. How do you feel about that?
Oh no, we customize the visits for the customers. We're all about the customer service. So if you need time, we're going to give that time to you. We want to make sure when you leave, you're happy with the products that you have. And you can see that in most of our reviews, especially Google. I mean, blow it away because you give that personalized service to everyone. It doesn't change for anyone. So it's like the proof is in the pudding with that place for sure.
Definitely. And do you think that you guys just do it differently than everybody else? I mean, I know you worked at past dispensaries before. I mean, what do you think is the biggest difference between a Planet 13 compared to any other dispensary in the country?
Well, it is a humongous complex, first of all. So, visually appealing right off the bat.
Yeah.
The visual appeal is great. Gives people something to look at, and also you can eat there. You know what I mean? There's like food places outside of the dispensary, and then inside of the dispensary, state of the art. And so, even if you have to wait or if we're busy, you're definitely going to get the service you want and deserve. As coming into a cannabis dispensary that large, it should be that way. I feel that way. You know what I mean? Of course. So, yeah, it's great. I think it's wonderful. There definitely is a really great market to be in right now, and I think that they hit every whistle and bell when it comes to like doing a dispensary and doing it right and making sure that it has that Vegas punch.
Of course.
And so, yeah, it screams Vegas to me. I love it. And I'm hoping we expand out.
Definitely. And so you've been there now for 2 years.
Yeah.
2 years. That's awesome. And so when you're bud tending, I mean, you have been in the industry now for almost 4 years, right?
Yeah.
So you have some experience, especially when talking to consumers. But how do you approach when someone comes up to you and is like, "Listen, I have this going on, but I have no clue how to approach it." Like, do you have like a system in place that you ask them like a certain type of questions, or you take every customer differently?
Every customer is going to have a different experience because if they're new to the game, you got to start off like with something that's not going to overwhelm them to the point of where they don't like cannabis. That happens very often. So if you get new people, you just want to make sure you start off slow with them as the first time you tried it. The first thing I'm not going to do is give them edibles because that can definitely spoil, you know what I mean? If anything, maybe something while you're in Vegas, like a nice vape pen or something like that.
Yeah.
Something just a starter so they can see what it's like and they're in control of that. Pretty much. Avid users, concentrate users, you definitely have to be up on your game. You have to know the difference between the live resins and all that good stuff, rosins and whatnot. And they appreciate that because they go to cannabis industry. And I feel like people that buy concentrates, they're the hardest customers.
100%.
Yeah, so they come in and they're going to ask the most questions. They want to know about terpenes, and so they have to get a little bit more education on a lot of the things, and they want a little bit more information when they come in. So everybody's going to be a little different on how they handle it. Usually with the first time consumers, you kind of gear that, you know what I mean? You're driving that ship. But with concentrate, sometimes you're like, I'm going to ride along with you passenger side. You let me know what you need, and I got you. You know what I mean? And then, CBD users and stuff like that, they're going to need a little bit more time too as well. I think people are very uninformed about CBD and stuff like that. So I think, giving people that kind of education is important. Obviously, it's a store, so you have to kind of have that mobility where you're fast, but you have to know your product. You know what I mean? That way you give that full service, but you're able to minimize that time frame in which you service the customer.
Yeah, of course. I mean, as someone that buys from a dispensary, I understand that other people in front of me have certain needs, but at the same time, I want to be served as fast as possible. And I think even when I am served, I want to be served when I am with a bunch, I want to be served as fast as possible, right? And so having the knowledge to be able to pull from it, right from the base, like, oh, I know I have this in stock, and I can give this to you because it'd be perfect. Is important. Do you feel like the company culture over there at Planet 13 is that, in the sense of like, our bud tenders know what we're talking about and we'll let the customers know exactly what they need to do?
Yeah, absolutely. I think they have a really big focus on education and educating the consumers, and I think that's the part of it that keeps me there. because in all honesty, it makes things fun. I never come to work like, oh my God, I got to go back to Planet 13 today.
Yeah.
I'm always happy to go back to work, which I think in the retail industry is almost like never happens.
Yeah, you're like in
Right.
like the top 1% of
Right,
retail workers.
exactly. Yeah. Everybody else is having an office space moment.
Yeah, that's true.
But you're winning the most.
People are smashing fax machines.
That's the best feeling when you go to work and you're just happy. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Because it's like, oh, damn, I'm just winning. And everybody else, not like they're losing, but it's just, you can't live like
Right.
that at all.
And it helps with the service too,
Yeah. If you're happy, the customers are going to be
Yeah.
happy. So, if you're a business owner out there, make sure you're taking care of your employees.
Please.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's big time.
I was just wondering, like, how'd you get into bud tending and all that?
Well, I always had a love for cannabis. Like, I wasn't a big drinker. I never got into much of anything else. Cannabis, I knew, had more medical purposes to it, even though nobody told me that information. You know what I mean? Nobody would provide it. And of course, if you go to a doctor, they're like, stop smoking.
Yeah.
Whatever you do, just stop smoking.
The devil's lettuce.
Right, exactly. But then they want to put you on like 50 different drugs
Yeah.
to manage situations. So for me, I felt like it did the trick, even though nobody had to tell me that, because there wasn't anybody
Yeah,
professional that
that's
was going to
crazy.
say, hey, that's good. I'm glad you did that. You know what I mean? But kind of in my way, it was better for me not to take 3 or 4 or 5 different medications, you know what I mean, to balance out X, Y, Z, in life, when you could just smoke cannabis. So I was very passionate about it.
That's dope.
And then when my wife is in the mortgage industry. So out here in Vegas, it's huge.
Massive.
Yes.
So when I was like, I really would like to be more a part of the cannabis industry. I'd taken some classes in Chicago and stuff, and I was like, I'd really like to be more involved. And would you be interested in moving to Vegas? And she was like, yeah, for sure. My cousin was out here, and he had like painted the most beautiful picture, and he was right about it. I love it, So I'm here, and I'm doing everything the right way. I ended up right into trying to actually apply was difficult, but somebody did give me a shot because I had a lot of retail experience,
Oh, okay.
a ton of retail experience. I worked, large box retail for a very long time, so it was easy for me to transition over
Okay.
and just learn the cannabis part of it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, I think so many people are nervous about getting into the cannabis industry because they don't have any cannabis experience. But I always tell people, like, you don't have to have it because no one else has it either. Like,
Right.
this is a brand new industry.
Yeah.
Like, if you have cannabis experience, where the fuck have you been?
Right.
So, anyone looking to get a job in the cannabis industry, do you have any tips for them?
Don't give up. Whatever you do, don't give up. Keep going with it. I know you're going to get a lot of no's, but you will eventually get a yes, especially if you have some retail experience. Do what you can to build up your portfolio in the meantime. There's Budtender Fight Club here in Vegas. You could do that. You can just ask around. Start anywhere that you possibly can. Get more active in the industry, because the more people that you know, the better. How do you do that? Attend things. There will be more events eventually.
Culture and cannabis events.
Exactly.
We'll be back.
Huge. I mean, honestly, to be very honest with you, that was one of the major events. Like, I would not miss it, because you basically saw everyone in the industry at that event.
Thank you so much. Really
Yeah.
appreciate
Thank you.
that.
For
I know,
sure.
If JC was here, he'd think the world
Yeah,
of
he'd
that.
be so happy.
Yeah.
He'd be so
He'd smile-
hyped.
he'd be
Yeah,
cheesing right now.
he'd be all red and happy. He'd be sitting right here like, that's really nice.
Right? And here's the thing, and this is what I think people don't realize too. It's not like people are drinking like crazy. People are smoking, socializing. If anything, there's more water drinking going on than anything else, because
Yeah.
you know what I mean? They're socializing or whatever the case may be. But I just feel like that's it's so much bigger than I expected what events would be like in Vegas. So you guys kind of raised the bar pretty high there.
Thank you. We really appreciate that. And we want to continue raising the bar. Obviously 2020 kind of put a damper on that, but we're looking forward to 2021 doing some awesome events, and we
Yeah.
can't wait to have you there.
Oh my gosh, I'm going to be there. Of course. No doubt. I don't miss them for sure.
So you brought up that you're married. How long have you been married for?
Since 2014.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
It's a long time.
Yes, it is.
And you have children.
I do.
How old are your kids? You know what I'm asking.
No, I don't mind at all. So my wife is much older than I am. Let me just put it that way. All of the kids are really my wife's from a previous marriage, but they're my kids. So I have a 26-year-old, a 21-year-old, and a 20-year-old.
Oh, okay.
I think that's how it goes away. 24-year-old, 26-year-old. She's going to kill me. They're going to kill me later, but I know I have a 21-year-old coming up here in October.
Nice. And so, obviously you're a big fan of cannabis. When they were teenagers, how did you feel about, how did you approach the cannabis use with them? And the fact that you're in the cannabis industry, the 26-year-old and maybe the 21-year-old, a little bit older now, they can actually consume. But how did you approach that when they were teenagers, right?
It was a little tough. I didn't smoke in the home, so that was a little difficult for me. And I lived in Chicago, so you really didn't have a whole lot of space. It was either like your backyard and a garage somewhere.
Yeah.
So
it's probably cold too.
Yeah. Nobody ever brought anything up to me until like the kids were teenagers, a little older teenagers, and they were like, we know you smoke cannabis, right? And I'm like, shit, how do they know? I've never. And they're like, you smell like it all the time. Your eyes are red. You know what's going on. But if you're a good parent, you're there all the time. You know what I'm saying? They just never. They never like judge me for that whatsoever. So, my way of just telling them is that decisions are decisions in your life. You're going to make them whether or not we influence the good things or the bad. In the end, it's going to be your decision. I'd rather you not smoke because of the carcinogen part of things, but if you do, let me know. I'd rather be more informed than uninformed. Don't do anything if you don't have to, but if you do, just let me know. And, of course, I am, like, totally against any of those hard drugs, which is a parent's thing.
Yeah, of course.
Where you're like, don't ruin your life with bullshit. So definitely one of those things that we had a large talk about. And I think they totally understood. I have some of the best children in the world, no lie, very focused, pointed kids, you know what I mean? They have great careers. So I'm super happy about that.
Do you smoke with them now?
Yeah. So yes, absolutely.
Is that cool or is that weird?
It was weird at first, and I was really opposed, to it.
Yeah.
But my daughter was like, "Come on, stop bullshitting already." Like,
come on.
It's been a few years now. Let's just get over it. And now they're adults. So I don't care so much to do that. And really, in all honesty, I'd rather hang out and smoke than anything else.
Of course.
And bullshit around, and it's great. So, yeah.
I think it's a good way, too. I mean, my dad has been a forklift operator for the past 27 years, so he can't smoke, unfortunately. But my mom consumes with me here and there, and she uses it to really help her go to sleep. But I think it's cool because I remember the first time smoking with my mom, I think I was like 20 or 21, and I was like, wait. I was like, you want to smoke weed with me? And me and my parents have always had a very good dialogue about things that I'm doing. So I've never really I've always been pretty much an open book with them about hey, listen, I did this and I fucked up and I need your help. And I think they trust me because of that, and I trust them because I'm able to tell them. They'll call me a fucking idiot. Like, first thing is like, you're a fucking idiot, but we'll figure it out. So I think it's cool because as a child, growing up, you think cannabis is this one thing, and not that even my parents filled me my head with these ideas, but you just hear it from around, and then at one point you're smoking weed with your mom, right? Yeah. So I just think it's just like kind of crazy as a kid because I don't know. I think it makes it more. Makes me, more relatable, right, to my parents, right? Mm-hmm. Because they're like, yeah, I used to smoke weed when I was a kid too. I was like, oh shit, that's dope. Now let's smoke some weed together.
Yeah,
right.
I just think it's like that substance is just way better than even alcohol is like I drink,
right.
I don't drink a lot, but it's still like weed doesn't do anything to you. Like all these other drugs, like you can go in like a blind rage or you can do dumb stuff, but weed you can't.
No,
maybe
right?
drive slow in a car.
For sure, right?
I'm like, oh damn, I'm going like 10 miles per hour under the speed limit.
But yeah, so I think it's just interesting, talking. We've had so many parents on here, and you don't even realize, like, wait, you're a parent? Like how do you handle that? And some of my closest friends in the cannabis industry have, kids from the ages between 5 and 15, and which is like, how do you handle that, right? Because I'm 25, you're 27. Mm-hmm. I think about like, one day I'm gonna have to like have that conversation with them, and like the way my habits now are definitely not habits I can have then, right? So I guess like, how do you control that, right? Because obviously there's some days where you're just like, yo, I need a joint, or I need a vape, or I need a bong rip. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Like how do you, well, I guess now it's a little bit different, but how did you then, work around those things?
I spent a lot of time outside. Like, I'm going to go work on this, and I'm going to go in the garage, and I have to work on something in a car, even though I had no idea how to fix anything on a car.
On something.
Yeah. I always had a reason. I tried to, my kids were much smarter than I thought they were. You know what I mean? But, yeah, it was just a lot of time doing that. And, eventually when they did, just kind of, like I said, having that conversation, kind of getting the awkwardness out of the way, and being honest about it.
Yep.
And be like, and I just do it, and it's so much easier, and it takes the ease off. But what I will say is, before I came home, I would smoke. Before I walked through the door, because I was like, 3 kids is a lot.
Bringing the baseline.
Yeah, especially when you
after
never had any, and then you all of a sudden you're like 3 children. You know what I'm saying? You're like, oh, let me smoke it up. So. Every time before I came in, I would smoke. And if things got tough, I would smoke. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because a clear level head is much better than just being a total hothead and just
100%.
Yeah, I think I think I've maybe been around like some kid, like younger kids while I've been high, like younger cousins and stuff. And I think I can like be way more patient with them if I'm high, right? Because you're like you're in general you're a nicer human being when you're high, right? Yeah. I don't know any mean high people,
right? And
so it's like being able to like just like relate with them, or like be like, yo, if they want to show you this truck or like this drawing that they made, it's like, okay, yeah, show them. Let me see it. You're like, oh shit, that's dope. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like cannabis can be a great way for parents to connect better with their children, and I think hopefully going forward it won't be like such a negative thing, like, oh, you smoke weed and then you have children. It's like, what do you mean? Like I'm a better parent because of it, right? And so I hope that narrative gets pushed out, because I believe that's truly what's happening. So
I think it for sure will.
Oh yeah, I hope so. Yeah, I think it's going in that direction. Yeah, it's definitely not an issue now. I think if you talk about it a lot and you keep conversation open, and it helps. There is a lot of children and a lot of kids out there that just have real crazy problems. Yeah. And to avoid cannabis as an option, whether it's not smoking but drinking it, or having an edible or something like that, it's worth trying. Let's just put it that way. 100%. Yeah. So I'm with you on that. I just think it needs to be a different conversation at home.
Yeah, definitely. 100%. But enough about your kids and your family. You also have a podcast.
Yes.
Yeah. The Hot Budtender podcast.
Hi
Budtender. Sorry.
Okay.
Hi Budtender podcast. Tell us a little bit about it. When you started it. How it got started.
I work with a gentleman named Jarrell Ellis, and he was at work one day and he was like, hey, I have this really great idea to do a podcast about budtenders. And I was like, yeah, that would be dope. Honestly, if you had me on your podcast, I'd probably never shut up. So he was like, yeah, if you want to be on it, let me know. I was like, score, I'll do it. And so I thought about it a little bit for a little while, and he never came back to me about it. And I think it's like I've always had really great ideas about doing something. And for one reason or another, I didn't get to it. And I felt really bad about not accomplishing that. Mm-hmm. So for me, I was like, let me reiterate this situation and let's find out what's going on with it. So I asked him and I said, if you ever wanted to partner up, we could do this podcast together. And he was like, would you want to do that? And I was like, yeah. And we just got the ball moving because for me, I'm like, let's just get it going. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so what a great guy. He's definitely in the communication industry, so it helped out a lot for us to do this part of things. He's really, really good about it. I had no idea about any of the sound equipment or anything like that. But I can roll you a really fat ass joint. But what was really nice is that, it kind of just meshed. And so I had a little bit of marketing experience, and I was like, I can't, create you a Lexus commercial or anything like that, but I could definitely, help you with some of the media portions of things. So it kind of just came went hand in hand, and we've been doing it now. We're already on episode 20 of the podcast, and we've been doing it like 20 weeks now.
Hell yeah. So it's a weekly podcast.
That's correct.
How long is the podcast?
It's usually between 45 minutes to an hour.
Okay.
That's awesome. And then, and so what the objective is to bring on other budtenders in the industry and kind of showcase who they are and, talk stories.
Yeah, I think it's really important to get all the knowledge out there. I don't think we should just be hiding terpenes in Vegas. You know what I'm saying? I think we should have that everywhere. I think that knowledge is super important. It would make our jobs a lot easier too. But not only that, it leads people in the right direction. Yeah. Because sometimes you don't get that level of service, right? We talk about that all the time. You just don't get that level of service, and somebody's like, here, I know you have anxiety. Here's this fabulous sativa pre-roll. Goodbye.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So definitely we wanted to be able to outreach to other budtenders in other states too as well, which we've been doing.
Oh, that's cool.
And it's been awesome because those little small nuances help us. It teaches us, you know what I mean? So I think it helps us to be better budtenders. And I told him, I was like, now we have even more of the edge. We're almost like Jedi budtenders now at this point. Yeah. And so, but just kind of getting all the information from everybody in all the other states, Chicago, I think we had Oklahoma.
Have you heard any crazy stories from the other states?
Oh, yeah, crazy. One dispensary... there is Budtender Lorraine. She won a Budtender award as well.
Cool.
And I had her on the podcast, and she's in Oregon. And her dispensary is super small, but catch this. They have 193 strains of cannabis.
Whoa. No way.
Yes, and almost 200 different types of
How do they even manage
concentrates.
I remember that.
Right? And I asked her that. I was like, wow. I was like, we should have had this conversation 20 minutes ago. Because I'm 196 strains of cannabis. How do you possibly handle that? And at first I'm like, your place must be pretty large. But it's not, you know what I mean? As large as you would think that would house that much merchandise. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I'm like, wow, that's incredible.
Damn, I don't even know. Yeah.
And then in Nevada, right, there's max ever on a menu 30 strains.
Right.
Yeah. So it's that's what, and concentrates even lower, 15, 20 at the max. So 100, almost 200 strains. It's
Talk about analysis paralysis.
Yeah.
For sure.
I was like, what are your sample bags like?
Crazy.
Yeah, Santa bags.
Yeah. Literally. But that's great. So Hi Budtender, where can they listen to that? Where can they check that out?
We're on all major podcast sources, but also too, you can check us out on YouTube.
Oh, so it's filmed too?
We don't film it. We just post it on. Because come to find out, when you tell people you have a podcast, they're like, you're on YouTube? And you're like,
yes,
we're gonna get there. I promise.
Yeah. That's what happened. That's what happened with us here. I know Rick does a great job. We were actually started in Chuck's kitchen with the podcast, and Chuck was doing it. And Chuck was like, "All right, fuck this. I'm not doing this anymore." Right. So we had to take a little bit of hiatus, and then thank God we found Rick, and Rick does does a fantastic job, and I can't say anything nicer about it. But I want to thank you for coming on the podcast.
Yeah, thank you so much.
I want to thank you for being a light in the cannabis industry as well, right? Much. People that care about the industry and do a great job in the industry. You got to hold on to those people. So thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
And and then plug yourself. Where can they find you? Mm-hmm. Where can they find Hi Budtender, Instagram, Facebook, all that good stuff?
Okay. So if you have any questions about budtending, at Cannabis Rocky, that's CANNABIZ ROCKY on Instagram. That's my IG. And then we also have Hi Budtenders on Instagram, Hi Budtenders on all the other social medias as well. Facebook, TikTok, I like to call it Tickety Top. And if Also, too, if you have any questions in depth or want to leave us any emails or anything like that, you can go on to our website, www.hibuttenders.com.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Thank you so much. This was awesome. I appreciate both of you for having me.
Thank you.
Yes. And then hopefully, I mean, I'm not a Budtender, but hopefully we can hop on the podcast one day too.
Oh, yeah, please.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Chuck, you're in trouble, sir.
Oh, me?
Chuck loves,
JC
by
will be
the
for
way,
that one.
FYI, Chuck loves to podcast. He's a super talker.
Chuck has a podcast.
Well, I
you?
used to
Yeah,
have
yeah,
one.
you used to have a podcast.
We're on a hiatus right now.
The
but
morning dinner.
Yeah.
They had Tony Shea, the owner of Zappos, on the podcast.
Nice.
Yeah, they had like some massive. They had like you check it out. The morning dinner. It's like one of the most like sickest aesthetics
Thank you,
ever.
Tony.
Ever.
See, I knew it. He loves to podcast.
Yeah, he does. It does love the podcast.
I just like being quiet and just laughing.
He likes to listen.
Smiling.
He's smile and listen. But listen, so usually at the end of the show, me and JC do like a little recap of what we got going on. But I got Chuck here, so Chuck, we're gonna have to do this together right now. Are you gonna be okay to do this with me?
Yeah.
All right, Chuck. What's going on, buddy? What are we doing?
Going to Reno.
Okay, when we go in the Reno?
In a week or two, and then
We're going to Reno on October 8th to the 12th. Okay.
I literally already forgot. But I know for sure we're going to Oklahoma.
And we're going to fucking Oklahoma.
1 month.
Giddy up. Listen, so this guy right here, me and this guy are going to be going. We'll be out there for 32 days, October 19th to November 20th. So if you are in Oklahoma right now, you're listening, watching, hit us up. Hit me up.
We're hyped.
At
We love
Full-Time
it out
Tony.
there.
Me and Chuck are going to be producing a shit ton of content while we're out there. We're going to throw some influencer parties. We're going to do a ton of dispensary tours. It's going to be fantastic.
So much.
Are you
stuff.
excited, Chuck?
I'm so excited.
And then we're gonna have JC and Leilani. They're gonna just like college. They're gonna take us there. They're gonna drop us off, and they're gonna come back and pick us up. So if you want to connect with JC and Leilani, they'll be out there the first and last week that we're there. Please hit us up. It'd be fantastic. And then what else we got going on? Culture is Food. Right now we got the Culture is Food rocking and rolling. We just got to drop the latest episode of the Finger Licking Foodie Tour in Arts District. Stay tuned. Tonight I'm gonna be dropping a giveaway on the Instagram. It's gonna be for 2 people to take the Las Vegas Foodie Tour in the Arts District. It's fantastic. It's a super cool
Everybody.
Super cool thing. If you like food in general, even if you're a foodie person, don't care for like all the hoopla, the Finger Looking Foodie Tour is great for everybody.
And they have a unique item, right, at each restaurant.
You get a unique item that you can't get on the menu. It's a fantastic time. It's great, and you get to try all these awesome restaurants for relatively pretty cheap. We got some new products coming out. I can't announce. Like, there's this one product I just want to announce so bad.
We gotta wait.
And stuff is just not concrete yet, and I can't announce it. But we got some other cool products coming
We're
out
close.
as well. Here, what I can say though is that our live resin is coming out.
Yep.
We're gonna have a live resin. We're working with Serene up in Verdi, Nevada, which is right near Reno. We're gonna be coming out with some new live resin. I'm really excited about that. We'll be launching here in the next week or so. Chuck designed all the packaging. Looks fantastic. And I think I'm missing something, but it's okay. I'll forget.
I mean,
I think that's kind of it right now.
Can we talk about the golden one? The golden tube?
The Hustler?
Yeah.
I mean, listen, I feel bad. I mean, we can't really talk. I mean, JC's kind of talked about it already.
Oh, okay. Then it's fine.
But, JC, we're going to be building a product around JC Coates, and it's going to be called The Hustler.
It's going to be beautiful.
And it's going to be sick as fuck. And it's going to have, like, the best cinematic photography made by Chuck. So it's going to be great. And I think that's it. Listen, thank you guys both so much. Chuck, thanks for coming and joining me today.
Thank you. Rocky.
Thank you.
And that's Culture and Cannabis Podcast. We'll see you guys next Thursday. Peace.
Peace.